What's it like to fly a Messerschmitt Bf 109? That's a question that nowadays very few people can answer. To find out, I visited the Messerschmitt Stiftung in Manching. It's a great place, but because they share their hangar with Airbus, it can be tricky to access. After making some calls, I was allowed in. And yes, these are the same people that also flew the Me-262 at Riyadh in 2023. You may have seen my conversation with Gary then, the Me-262 pilot. Today we will hear from Volker Bau, one of the only people that can fly a Bf 109 these days. And it's not just my questions, but those from you. I asked my Patreons and channel members to let me know what questions they have, and I put those to Volker. So without any further ado, let's jump straight in.
My name is Volker Bau. I'm 55 years old. I'm the chief test pilot of Airbus helicopters in Donauwörth. So in my normal life I fly helicopters. And here in my second life I fly at the Messerschmitt Museum, I fly the Messerschmitt aircrafts.
And which aircraft are those?
I'm flying here the 109 and the 108.
And how many flight hours do you have?
I have in total, as an experimental test pilot, I have 8,000 hours, and in the 109 approximately 200 hours.
Where do you usually fly the 109?
Normally I fly it here in Manching, but of course we are going to different air shows, spots and exhibitions.
And what sort of modifications did the aircraft require to fly under modern flight regulations?
The aircraft is mostly original, but however, we made some modification in modern pipes for the fuel. We put radios in. We have, of course, a modern transponder and intercom, stuff like this. But the aircraft, original engine, original aircraft.
Okay. And take us through the normal takeoff and taxiing procedures.
The aircraft, if you look on the aircraft, the size and directional stability of the rudder is about the same size on a Piper 18, but we have about 1,400 horsepower and a Piper 18 has 90 horsepower. So the problem is not the taxiing, as long as you are slow, but during takeoff you have not enough directional stability and you bring this torque of 1,400 horsepower on the runway and then the aircraft tries not to stay in one direction.
There's a lot of stories that come out with the 109 that it says that it's unstable on the ground with a narrow undercarriage. What would you say to that?
I mean, what we did here, we put the materials on the most modern standards. So what happened in the old days that the undercarriage collapsed, we do not have anymore, but it's still direction stability during takeoff and landing is a challenge.
And what's a normal takeoff like? So speeds, how long you're on the ground, when do you rotate?
The problem is to get enough speed that the directional stability is enough, and then you won. But during this phase, if you give too much power, the aircraft tends to leave the runway to the left and you're getting out of right rudder. And if you have too less power, you don't get the speed to avoid this. So it's always a challenge.
And what is the 109 like once it's in the air?
Once it's in the air, it's a fighter. So it's made for speed and to fight. So the maneuverability and flying the aircraft is just, once it is airborne, I have to say, it's fun.
Okay. And what sort of normal maneuvers do you do at air shows?
We do at normal maneuvers are basic aerobatics like loop, roll or half cubes, but no extreme aerobatic. We want to present the aircraft presents the engine, so we need the noise and we need the speed.
How do you find the cockpit ergonomics?
If you put you in a small box that's half of your size, then you feel like you're in the aircraft. So claustrophobic is definitely a problem and you have no space at all. The aircraft was built around the pilot. There's not even a centimeter space.
And what is the engine like on the aircraft?
The engine is a 12-cylinder, so it's very reliable. I never had, so thumbs up, I never had an engine failure.
What sort of settings are you usually run at, so RPMs and ATA?
Oh, we are about 30% of the maximum of the power. So if the engine is rated with 1,400 horsepower, we use only 70% of this, because we want to keep the engine as long as possible.
And do you use the automatic pitch setting or the manual one?
For takeoff and landing, I use a manual setting, just to avoid any mistake, and that will hurt me. So, but in normal flight, even in aerobatic, I use the automatic.
And what's the fastest you've taken the aircraft?
In Germany or in Europe, we are only allowed to go 550 kilometers per hour, and that was, of course, the fastest I've ever done.
How do you rate the maneuverability of the aircraft?
As I said, once you are airborne, the aircraft was made that the pilot can target something else, so it's very maneuverable. However, you need some forces on the cyclic, so it's not comparable to a modern aerobatic aircraft, of course not.
Do you notice a big difference in control authority at different speeds?
Absolutely. As fast as it is, as more direct the controls are working. If you go to slower speed range, you see the wingtips, they will come out, the flaps will come out automatically. And this will change, of course, the aerodynamic behavior immediately. And this will be, it depends on the angle of attack, but it will be around 150 kilometers per hour, up to 200, then they will come out.
And what's your sort of normal landing procedure then, and what speeds do you land at?
Normally you do your approach speed with around 200 kilometers an hour, and on short final, depends on the winds, you're around 180, and then the settle down will be around 140 kilometers.
And is that with full flaps, half flaps?
Full flaps. During landing you have full flaps, during takeoff you have only 20.
What's your favorite aspect about flying the 109?
It's an honor to fly this aircraft.
And if there's one thing you could change about it, what would it be?
I would put the landing gear on the other side, not inside the body, but outside on the wing, like it is on modern fighters.
Okay. And what would you say is the most maintenance-intensive aspect of the 109?
It's the same as on every other aircraft out of this area. However, the most intensive work, not more than another engine, is the engine, of course. The engine. And we do not have very many engines, so there's also a rare engine.
Do you know roughly how many maintenance hours to flight hours the aircraft has?
Oh, I have to guess. I think it's about 200 hours to 1 flying hours.
Oh, and by the way, if you want to sit inside this 109 cockpit, you actually can. Check out the description for the museum's access requirements and their schedule. A big thank you here to the Messerschmitt Stiftung, Airbus and Volker for the access and their time. Also patrons and channel members for your questions and for funding these filming tips. And as always, have a great day and see you in the sky.